Everybody got an opinion, and rightfully so, because it's their opinion. But your opinion don't direct or guide my life or make my decisions. You heard me? Today we're going to talk about other people's opinions of you, your life, your decisions, what you should and shouldn't do. Let's get into it. Let me just say this first. I had an uncle one time tell me that I should get a real job. Now, at the time, I probably was making more money than him. I'm just going to keep it 100. I love my uncle. Rest in peace. I love him to death. But his opinion and his suggestions for my life was just that, his opinion and his suggestion. It was up to me to take it or not take it. So let me go back. I used to sing for a living. I lived in California. My uncle lived in California. At the time, he was a baker. Great baker. I mean, one of the best. And I'm sure he was making some good money. Right? But I was singing for a living. Sometimes we would go out and just for a couple of hours or an hour or so and make $100 or $200 a piece, right? That's not including the TV shows, the warm-up for TV shows, the different stuff that I've done, right? Or that we were doing at the time. So I could have $1,000 a week like it was nothing. You know what I'm saying? Or at least $500, and this was back in the early 90s, right? But his opinion was that that wasn't a real job. You know what I'm saying? And we've all heard that from our elders or from older people at the time that, you know what I'm saying? Like even now, there's a big burst of young folk doing their own things and having their own businesses and stuff like that, right? And you'll hear older people tell you, you know what I'm saying? Like I've said before, you should get a job with good benefits and retire from that job and all of that kind of stuff, which is okay if that's what you want to do, if that's your plan. But don't do it just because they say you should do it, because your life is your life. And at the end of it, you the one got to answer for it. You feel me? Good, bad, or indifferent. You got to answer for it. So the decisions you make, they're yours. You the one got to either suffer. You the one that's going to either suffer from them or do good in them. You know what I'm saying? And as far as standing before God, nobody really can judge you on what you're doing except for him, because you're going to stand before him, and then that'll be between you and him. I can't do that for you, whether you're my grandchild, my child, or any of that. You feel what I'm saying? And so that puts that in perspective as to these other people telling you what you should do and shouldn't do. That's one thing I never cared for. Now, if I ask your opinion on something, that's different, because I'm asking your opinion to get your knowledge or wisdom on it, and then I'm still going to make my own decision at the end of the day, right? So that's what I'm saying about that. People will tell you from their point of view or from their experiences or from what they've been taught and all of that kind of stuff. They'll tell you exactly what you should do or what they think you should do and which route you should take and all of that. And 9 times out of 10, they're not there, or they didn't take that same route. You feel what I'm saying? Like, how can you tell me how to get rich and you ain't never been rich? Not that rich matters to me. I'm just using that as an example. How can you tell me about a path that you never traveled? How can you tell me about something that you've never done? You know what I'm saying? That's why I always say, Don't come telling me nothing if you ain't been through it. Cause it's garbage. It's useless. What good is it gonna do me? It didn't even do you any good because you never experienced it. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, people will tell you what they think you should do, or not even the fact that they'll tell you what they think you should do, but they got all of these grand ideas about what you shouldn't do, because that ain't gonna work, and this ain't. Cause people, if you let them, they'll steal your whole joy. They'll steal your whole aspirations away from you. You know what I'm saying? Now, in my own life, do I wish I had done some things differently? Of course I do. But that's in retrospect. Everything is 2020 in hindsight. Hindsight is always 2020. We can look back and say, oh man, I wish I would have done more of this, or I wish I would have done less of that, which is what we all do, because life is a learning process. And just because you did a certain way, or you saw a certain way, or you heard a certain way that was better, that doesn't mean it's going to work for me. You know what I'm saying? And that's the point I'm making. And a lot of times they don't do it out of hate or out of a bad place. They really and truly believe in themselves that they're giving you good advice, that they're helping you, that they're doing this. But what worked for you don't work for me. What worked for me might not work for you. You see what I'm saying? So you gotta, everybody has, I heard this story. I don't know, I mean, it's not a story, but I heard this thing about, and I could be wrong, so don't quote me. But I heard this story about females, women, and it said that whenever a woman is born, she is born with the exact amount of, and I could be saying it all the way wrong, so like I said, but you can look it up. But they're born with the exact amount of eggs or whatever that they're gonna produce. In other words, however many babies she's gonna have in her lifetime, she's born with that. And another time, one more time, I could be wrong, so don't come for me. But I heard this. And the reason I'm using that for example is because everything that we have need of is inside of us. Everything that God gives us, or the Holy Spirit directs us to, or whatever, is already inside of us. Your dreams and listen, I've been singing my whole life, ever since I can remember singing. I remember singing my first solo in church when I was about 9 years old, 8 or 9. My mother taught me a song and my brother a song. That's the crazy part, because my daddy was the singer in the family. Him, his mother, his sisters, all of them, they were singing. But she taught us our first solo, the lyrics and everything. And I'm going somewhere with that. I've been singing my whole life. Now, ain't nobody ever told me to be a singer. Ain't nobody ever, well, my dad did guide me once they realized that I had the gift, and that, that I had a love for the gift. He guided me as far as he could, you know what I'm saying? Because they grew up in church, so we grew up in church, singing in church, all of that. And I'm saying all of that to say is, that was already in me. I didn't put that in me. As far as practice, I've spent hours on top of hours on top of hours to try to perfect my craft, right? Learning new songs, imitating some of the best singers so I could get some of their runs and some of their textures and all of that type of stuff. So don't get it twisted. I put some time in, but everything that is me today was already in me when I was born. You see what I'm saying? And that's what I mean by that. Everything you have need of is inside of you. All of those dreams, all of those aspirations, all of those. I heard, I was listening to Marvin Gaye, and I think it was him and Tammy Terrell on one of the songs they did together. And at the end of the song, he said, how did he say this? I can't remember exactly how he said it. But basically, ever since he knew anything, he knew he wanted to be a singer. You feel what I'm saying? So he started singing, and he started singing in church. Now, we know that certain gifts and talents pass down. I've gotten a lot of stuff that my dad used to do, that my grandfather and them probably did, because I didn't know them. They were builders, they were fishermen, they were all of those kind of things, right? So I have those gifts of using my hands, being good with my hands, being able to build stuff, being able to fix stuff, all of that type of stuff, right? And being able to sing. Now, let me just tell you this part of it. That doesn't just pass down just because they do that. Now, a lot of stuff does, right? But gifts don't just pass down like that. Hence, that was in me before I was born or when I was born. Because if it did, every last one of my children would be able to know how to sing, or they would have that gift, or every last one of them would know how to build stuff, and they probably do to some extent. Maybe not physically, but they probably know how to do stuff mentally. You know what I'm saying? I have some daughters. Some of my daughters can sing. They just didn't cultivate it a lot, but it's still in them. But my son can't. I think he tried, or maybe he just didn't try hard enough, but he can't. And I'm saying that to say that some people will say, well, you just got that from your daddy. You know how we say, oh, that boy get all of that from his mama. He get that from his daddy. She get that from, we say that a lot. But that doesn't work like that. Some things do. But it's not because it was something that was just an automatic. That was because that was meant by God for that person to have that gift, or to carry on that gift, so to speak. That's just my opinion. So I'm saying that to say, again, everything you are, everything you feel, everything that's inside of you, everything that you think about, well, not everything, because some things we think about ain't good, and I'm guilty of that. We all guilty of that. But I'm talking about the good side of it. You know what I'm saying? Follow that. Dig into that. Learn something about that. Do that. You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't mean that every single thing is going to work out, but most of them will work out. But just don't let nobody take that from you. Don't let somebody stop you from doing that because they feel like, nah, that ain't gonna work. You know what I'm saying? You might have a business idea, and somebody who ain't never even had a business, but they grown, or they old folk, or they got some gray hair, or they got some knowledge and wisdom and all of that, not to take that from them, because they might do have all of that. But this is your life. This is what you're doing. This is what God gave you. You understand what I'm saying? And it's up to you to cultivate it and not listen to people that tells you that's not a good idea. Nothing beats a failure but a try. And most time, if it's for the right, if it's some good stuff, or if it's, long as it ain't evil, and evil rewards evil too. Now, don't get it twisted. Everything ain't from God. Everything ain't good. Everything that we get rewarded for is not always good and from God. The devil take care of his too. Let's just say that. And if you don't believe in all of that, this ain't for you. But I need to say that because that's who I am and that's what I believe in. But to move past that, don't let somebody stop you because they can't see your vision. Your vision is your vision. Your dreams are your dreams. Your aspirations are your aspirations. Even for my children, I don't tell them what they should or shouldn't do. There was a time when I did, bro. You You need to watch these folk. You need to. That's because I've been there. I know what's popping with that. But now it's up to you to take that or not. It's up to you. I'm trying to give you the game, but that's up to you to take it or not. So you either take it and expound on it, or take it and make it better, or don't take it at all. But basically what I'm saying is, however you do that, just don't let that stop you from doing what you're doing. Just like I said before, I've been told, oh, don't mess with him, don't mess with her, don't mess with it. And I did. Sometimes it turned out bad like they said it would. But then sometimes I realized in that, because of whatever was inside of me that drew me to those people, that they weren't as bad as what people were saying, or that they had some good in them, or that it was a reason for me being drawn to them and us being not, I'm not talking about physical relationships. I'm talking about just relationships with people. And sometimes they made me better, or they made them better, or they made both of us better, or whatever the situation. But had I listened to those people that say they ain't no good, don't mess with them, some of the stuff I got out of it, mentally and even sometimes physically, I would have missed out on. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I'm rambling, so I don't want to start rambling. But I want you to get the main thing that I'm saying in this post. Don't let people steal your joy. Don't let people stop you from your dreams. Don't let people stop your aspirations. And the world has a tendency of doing that, because it'll tear you down a lot. People will too. People in the world, it is what it is. But that's the main thing. Follow your dreams. Follow your heart. You know, obviously we all want to try to do what's right, but you got to follow what's inside of you, because that's what will lead you to where you need to be at. You can't follow my roadmap. You feel me? I can't follow yours. I can't follow my daddy's. You see what I'm saying? Because it wasn't for me. I got to get what I got to get for me that's inside of me. You know what I'm saying? And until I do, I'm going to continuously be searching for it and yearning for it and feeling for it and wanting it and all of that. And I'm not just talking about material things. I'm talking about life in general. You see what I'm saying? Because again, for the last time, no matter what people tell you, you need, you gotta have, you gotta do, where you need to be, everything you have need of is inside of you. All of your dreams, all of your passions, all of your aspirations, all of your ideas. Not to say that all of them are going to pan out, but they may. You never know. But that's what you have to go on. That. Not mine, not your mom and them, not your dad and them, not your cousin and them. You know what I'm saying? Because you will see those type of people coming up and making good decisions and doing good things, but that's for them. You know what I'm saying? So follow your dreams, follow your aspiration, follow your ideas. You get ideas, and you get those ideas for a reason. Now, just remember, on the other side of that, it may not be easy. Some things might be, but most things, they may not be easy. So you're going to have to put the work in with it to go with those dreams and aspirations and all of that kind of stuff. But do that, and it'll be all good. Well, let me take that back. Not to say it'll be all good, but you'll be happier in the process, because you know that that's something you want to do. That's something you aspire to. That's something that's something you dream of, and all of that type of stuff. And that part of it makes it a little easier to take when the hard times come. Because this all me right here. I can take my bumps and bruises when it's all mine, and not something somebody else done put on me and got me out here in this water. Now I got to take a lick because it was supposed to be for you. Or you feel what I'm saying? Anyway, That's all I got to say today. And y'all be easy. We'll see you in the next one. One love.